And as far as I know, we're recording. So.
Oh.
Yeah, but I gotta figure out that side-by-side thing again.
Yeah, that was quite good.
I think I figured that out after. I think I figured that out in editing.
What are you doing?
I think.
Because it looked really
Did you
really
like that?
good.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool. Wallet out of my pocket. I have no idea what we're going to talk about today, but that's the fun of life.
I actually took out the list.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. How about oh no, the ego / personality versus inner being / higher self.
Oh, that's a good one, because I'm in physical pain and I know it's got to do with exactly that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the conflict between the two of them.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Mom,
Yeah.
my knife is done yet?
I do. I think it looks good. Eli's been hand making an obsidian knife.
Oh, cool.
So we found this really cool store, a little off topic, but we found this really cool store that I want to introduce you to that sells all sorts of crystals and things. This woman's amazing. Everything's reasonably priced. She's in her 70s, and she needs help. She has no one to help her. She has no website.
Is she online?
No, she's
Get her online.
She's not. I know. She wants me to help her, so I don't know how that's going to work out. But so we that started. Show her again. It started as a 2x4 piece of wood, and he whittled it down.
And I polished it, and then I put the blade on it.
So we got a huge piece of obsidian. Yeah. I like it because kids getting back to that natural
making with their own hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually playing with stuff in the dirt as opposed to buying something from a shop and what do you call it, and then playing with it and then throwing it out because they haven't really appreciated all the work that went into it. This is my conundrum with my daughter. She loves stuff, but after about 2 months, she's tired of it. Whereas I think if she made it herself, she would actually be appreciating more. And
I agree.
It would probably last longer.
Well, Eli's a great one for that. That's fumes. Could you do it outside?
No, it says it's okay for inside.
Oh, okay. So it's okay for inside. What do I know? That's a really good point, though, because dovetailing that into the ego thing. If I'm distracted, I have a really bad shoulder pain, so I'm like trying to love it and ignore it at the same time. That's not very easy. Eli is the king of appreciating stuff. He has a blanket that was Skylar's blanket when the day Skylar was born. He was in a NICU unit, and they gave him this blanket.
Yeah.
And Eli I handmade Eli blankets. Didn't want anything to do with them. He wanted his big brother's blanket, and to this day, this blanket has been. So now it's 16 years old.
Yeah.
But it has meaning. It has value.
I'll go get it.
Yeah, he's going to go get it for you. It has been... the original pieces are almost all gone. It has been reassembled with a quilt that my grandmother made. My great-grandmother made.
Oh,
and I cut down. And then other pieces of material over time that I've always had to hand do because I don't know how to sew on proper thing. Here you go. Here, hello, world. Meet Blanky.
oh.
Get in the camera. You're not even in the view.
Yeah, I can't see. Oh.
It is complete threadbare. It's with my mother has tried to throw it out countless times. There's this is funny. This actual white part
Yeah.
was handmade by my great-grandmother. So you're talking 1930s,
30.
40s.
Maybe 1800s.
No, I don't think it goes back to the 1800s. But, yeah. It's phenomenally full of people, souls, memories. And every stitch has been hand made.
And it's been loved.
Oh, it's loved forever. Like, forever. But that's a perfect dovetail into what you're saying about the ego. Is I think, and it's just one perspective, but I think there are places where the ego is willing to sacrifice love to belong to any tribe, to be accepted anywhere, just to be accepted. Go ahead.
But that's because the purpose of the ego is to keep yourself or keep the individual alive and to protect it. Yeah. So it is willing to do a lot of things in exchange for survival.
Approval and survival. Yeah.
Approval, survival. Well, it's really a survival at the end of the day. Approval is what it looks like in today's terms, because nobody's being chased by a lion anymore.
Right.
Yeah. But you still get the threat of being sacked or being made redundant at work, or the threat of being ostracized by friends. And so it will do a lot of things to avoid that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and then you're not happy. And then you don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Whereas the ego is not about growth. It's not about pushing you to be better than yourself. It's all about preservation, self-preservation, and sometimes contraction. Whereas the inner being is always going to want to make your existence improve in some way. And if that means going through suffering, then so be it. So yeah, it's a little bit of a conflict there. And it's funny because the ego will always go for the path of least resistance to protect the individual. But the inner being will always say, "Oh no, that's danger. That's where your fear lies. Go there." Because that's where the excitement is. That's where life happens.
What, in the path of least resistance? The same path?
No. The inner being will always tell you to go where fear is, because that's where growth happens, when you can overcome that fear. But also that's where the excitement is. That's where life happens. Whereas the ego will say, "Oh no, I'd rather take the easy way out, because then I don't have to do anything.
Safe.
But I'll still be safe, and I'll still be alive, and I'll still be protected. But that doesn't mean that you'll actually be happy."
Happy. That's the thing.
Yes, and not only that, the ego doesn't care if you love yourself or not. It just wants to be alive. It wants to be the one that you listen to.
Well, and it's designed to no, that's not true. It's designed. Boy, I'm going to screw this up really bad, or I'm going to do it really well. So, here we go.
Go ahead.
In looking out through all of my personalities, I'm not going to say back, because I'm getting to this point where I can see that it's a center point and there's all these loopings. And call it what you want. And I'm really totally over labeling ages and dates, and because those are so linear. And for me personally, I've come to realize they were just like movies. But it always comes back to that eternal point inside. And as I kind of work on raising up my awareness, I trust the body's ability to not be a number, an age or some crap that somebody else made up. So with that in mind, as I loop around and look at these different places of experiences in my memory bank, I ask myself, which ones were in which ones was I happiest? And the ones where I was happiest, whether there were other people around or not, were the ones where it was just fun. You're just playing frisbee on the beach in Miami with some of my friends. That's one of my favorite memories. It was, the sun was going down, we were all sunburnt, drunk as skunks, dogs running up and down the beach, throwing the frisbee, and it was like that eternal slow sunset. Like it took forever for the sun to go down. It was completely meaningless. Nobody was making any money. Nobody was bright and sparkly clean. Nobody cared. There were no, paparazzi. It was just fun. Living life. And yeah, just pure fun and happy that there were people to play with. And another one is by myself laying on the same beach with a bottle of water and a radio, no money, $0, nothing. And just like, this works. This is good. I could do this for a really long time. I don't care. I like life. Life is good. You're feeling healthy. There you go. Healthy, strong, vibrant, and relaxed. And those 2 points, it's amazing because when I reach for the ego, the personality structure, she's right there. The me is the natural me is just, this is nice.
Yeah.
And I think we all have that, and that's who we are when you get lost in reading a book. That's also the channeling state when you're lost in the moment.
All right, see ya.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then the ego, my ego, is always operating from fear of other people.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, baby.
Can I help you? Yeah, go ahead. Always operating from, I don't want to blame anyone, but I could blame a list of people that I've let into my brain that judge. But it's that inner, okay, I know where I was going with that. The ego wants to protect you, I think.
Yes.
From being rejected by society. So its intention is well founded, but because the universe isn't designed for linear prediction or control, it makes the ego's job impossible. Does that make sense? Because you can't control anything except yourself. So there's the little ego going, well, yesterday when we did it this way, it went like that, and then it doesn't happen like that, and so now it's terrified because it doesn't work. Hi, family. Did she get up this early? Hi, Camille.
Yeah.
Good morning. Have you had fun?
Yeah. You had fun? Yeah.
Is this like a spring break? How did you get out of school? For 2 weeks.
It's between terms. So she's it is kind of like spring break, but it's not. It's before our winter.
Okay. Very cool.
So it's the other way around. Yeah. So she's finished one term, and we get 2 weeks before the next term starts.
Sweet. We only get one.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So the ego, I'll speak for myself. Maybe it'll come out in a way, because I can only speak from what I figured out about me. But I've noticed that my ego, better said, for me, is a personality structure, is just like that, but she wears a billion unlimited hats, which is why she's generally angry. Throw me in a party, let's party. Throw me in an office, I got that. Throw me in a restaurant, I got that. And anywhere. I've worked so many jobs, I can't think of anything that I can't do except computer program, probably. Okay, and like I'm not going to go do some sports that I'm just not putting my body at risk for. But generally speaking, our ego is meant to be adaptable, but we're trained that it's supposed to be this one thing. And Hollywood is a great example, acting, of that you ought to be able to allow yourself to be, 1 minute Johnny Depp is doing, Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, and the next minute he's some Pirates of the Caribbean, and to enjoy wearing those different hats like a little kid. And then to me, that's living again. But when you let people tell you, oh no, you're not allowed to mix and match and reinvent like Madonna, then your ego's, purpose is lost. So now, but because that's its purpose, to focus you into reality and play and allow the enjoyment of living out these paradigms, and when you deny it that, then it tries to force it. Does that make sense? So it tries to say, well, you work at an office job, so this is who you are, and you're like, oh, and this battle.
Yeah.
Like, don't you go through that at work? Like, you go to work, and in the back of your mind, you're like, but actually, I'm a healer too.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's what stops people from saying. Well, years ago, I used to say, well, I did not say anything to my boss or anyone at work that I was studying energy healing, because I thought, that's going to ruin my reputation. It's going to make me less serious to them, and they won't. And anything that I say from then on, the moment that I admit that, will lose importance, so I won't have any credibility in my job anymore. That's me thinking.
Right.
That's the ego. That's the ego thinking, and it's in protection mode.
Right.
Because it wants you to keep the job. It wants you to be comfortable and not lose a job. So yeah, but then after a while, I just said. But you can train the ego, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's with the partnership of the inner being. So once the inner being says, well, you can do that, you can actually stretch yourself and see what happens if you actually tell them that you also are an energy healer. The ego will say, well, the ego said, hang on, be careful, tread lightly, don't tell everyone yet, tell only select people, and then see what their reaction is. And then it was quite benign.
Nobody cared. Is that what happened?
Cared. Nobody cared. Yeah, nobody cared. Some people thought it was interesting, some people thought, that's all right, but they really rolled their eyes. And I didn't get the sack, I still kept the job. So the ego thought, new experience. You still have the job, so we can actually start expanding a little bit on that. So yeah, it can be trained, but the thing is, it's always going to be thinking of how to protect, which is actually not a bad thing. Because that's what to me, that's what it's designed for. It's to protect. And if you can actually just think of the ego as that is its role all the time, then you can quieten the inner chatter a little bit when you want to do something slightly more dangerous.
All right, but I'm going to challenge you on this because this just came up. What are we protecting?
You're protecting your way of life, or what you're comfortable with, I guess. Okay, in that instance, it's protecting the source of income. because it's work.
Survival. Yeah, the ego's always afraid of annihilation.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Like I said, in ancient times, it'll be all about trying not to get eaten by the lion. So the ego will say, "Well, run that way behind that rock," so that you don't, so that the lion can't reach you. Nowadays, it's be quiet, stay under the radar, don't make waves, don't say what's on your mind too much, because it might challenge other people's beliefs, and if those people are in positions of authority, they might give you the sack.
Bingo, that's what I'm going for. We're protecting their fear by accident. Now, I'm not saying do anything different, but I'm bringing this around to where we're headed with the love notes and the love notebooks and the random acts of love, the game of love that we're about to start playing. I've got 2 more people on board that want to play with us. So uploading it to Facebook and everything. Yes. And you're all just waiting on me to get it into place. But interestingly, that's a good point for it, because we're protecting their fears, we're actually keeping their fears alive.
Yeah.
Now,
that's true.
So it is the ultimate trick of the illusion of power versus the power of illusion that has been going on for thousands of years. There's nothing to fear. And dear God, help me say this in such a way that it's yours and not mine, but here I go. They are afraid. I do this all the time, right? Oh, screw it.
Love it.
They are afraid of being... Okay, so when I walk into a room, or you walk into a room, and everyone's like... Okay, wait. That was loud. So, when Bono walks into a room, tough shit for the room, right? He doesn't give a rip what any of them are thinking. And he has trained the entire world to respect him. Whatever positions of power they are in, they know that he knows something's up that they don't know yet. But way back in the day, they just thought he was an upstart rock star. But he knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. And he's not afraid of their fear. Because what are they afraid of but love? He's completely outspoken on that we're all in this together, we're all one, it's all about love, let's take care of one another. But he's just a great living example of when he walks into a room, he's already called bullshit before he gets there. And it's up to the other people in the room to decide whether or not they're going to respect that. Doesn't mean they change how they operate, doesn't mean they change the way they run their country, but in that interaction, they have to honestly decide whether or not they're going to respect the fact that this man is called bullshit. And generally speaking, they bow their head and shake his hand and respect that he's called bullshit. Doesn't mean they have the confidence yet to get behind the microphone and say some of the things he said or do some of the things he's encouraging people to do. But he gives them an unprecedented opportunity to know, I've changed the way I live on this planet. Let me mimic it to you, and so you feel less afraid to make a similar change of kindness and love and service and joy and compassion. That's why when you walk into a room, or I walk into a room, or anybody walks into a room, and you can feel that this is the way we do it around here, because I'm boss. That you look at boss and be like, no, really, you're just a guy with a couple of pieces of paper and a telephone and a staff. You ain't no different than me, buddy. I'm not putting you on the pedestal. We're equal. Or you could say, and how are you doing with that? Are you serving the light, or are you acting from fear and making people walk on eggshells around you and everyone's afraid of you? And so what if you've got this power? Look how you're wielding it. What a waste. And without saying a word, though, you stand in your own love, and while your ego, meanwhile, is like, oh, run!
Quivering
run!
in fear.
get out as fast as you can. These people are nuts. But there you are, and you say, hello. And the guy's like, raw, breathing fire at you, and you're like, stinky fear. Wow, man. Okay, so I just said hello, nice to meet you, and they want to see whether or not you're going to play that game, and you don't play that game. You either just leave if you feel like it, or you stay and offer them as much peace as you can, but either way, you say to your ego, like, whatever they're doing has nothing to do with us. We're doing this, and this is just as valid and just as beautiful as anything that they think they're doing is. And then it levels the playing field. And what I'm getting at is the reason people acting from fear hate us, or Jesus talked about it a lot, hate what we call the light, is for one reason and one reason only. You are reminding them, your constant reminder that they too could drop the sham if they wanted to. And what makes them furious, misery loves company, what makes them furious is that you aren't going there with them. You're just going to stand there and say, no, this is it. This is good. I'm happy. You're not happy and you're mad at me because I'm not going to join you in your misery, but you could drop it at any time. And they get, you see how that works? They get madder because they realize they're doing it to themselves. And they fear, well, I have one person in my life that doesn't ever want to drop that game because then they would have to be nice. Well, what a pain in the ass that would be, right? They'd have to be nice. They'd have to forgive. And they'd have to accept the fact that all those moments of misery were their choice. Well, they aren't giving that up. They aren't giving up blame. I watch them every day. They aren't giving up blame for anybody. But I'm not accepting responsibility for their happiness anymore. So we're at this weird stalemate. We're like, I'm happy, you're not happy, and it's not my fault. And now I know it. But I'm still being blamed. I'm still being blamed for their misery, but now I finally figured it out. And that's not my responsibility. It's not my fault. And that relationship is now over. It's gone. It's disappeared. That's sad. Relationships are lost by that. But your ego, my ego, Bono's ego, Jesus's ego, all get to this point where we realize, yeah, but ego, you're here to point out to me in a linear mental human way what's happening to them. Because I have an ego, then I can understand what that soul is going through in their story, right?
Yeah.
Because their eternal soul isn't going through that. They're just living it right now. So my ego is a tool to help me have compassion. To be able to relate and be like, oh yeah, I can totally see why you're miserable. But there's another choice. And my ego is my personality structure, is how I communicate, and you communicate steps that person can take for themselves that have worked for your ego, but they'll find their own steps. But you see how that's why I see the point of the ego is to be able to communicate. Because with your ego structure and my ego structure, we both totally know that, like, I could tell you to do 1,000 things today, and you'd be like, Christina, I am so know how to live my own life. Thank you very much, right? But I could say, well, you don't have to do any of them, but here's some that have worked for me, and if any of them work for you and make your life easier, then please take them for free, which is why we do these videos. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's the difference between telling people how to live their life and saying, no, you can be happy. I figured it out. I do these things. They make me really happy, and I want you to be happy. So here's some things that make me happy. Just be happy. I'll do anything. If you want to listen, maybe it'll help. I don't know.
When I do energy healings, and I tell at the end of the session, I usually tell the clients, and I tell them, just listen to what feels right to you. You don't even have to listen to what I have to say, and they'll laugh. Because what I have to say is only my truth. It's not your truth. So listen to what's right for you.
Right, but that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's the key out of this mess, is that when you realize life just gets more and more beautiful when you respect all the perspectives of this looping thing, right? Then life itself lets you peer into the interconnectedness of us all.
Oh.
But there are locks and keys into awareness that, like, you don't have access to the secrets of the universe until the universe sees that you are truly on this path. That I've totally seen. You don't get to play at the higher levels of fifth dimension if you have not proven to existence itself that you are acting out on a level of unconditional love. You're not even allowed in there. So people can try to understand secret scriptures and UFOs, and they can wrap their heads around it for here to high kingdom come. They'll never be able to get what they want, which is power over it. Because there is no such thing at that operational level. That's an ego structure to control other people, to enslave them, to tell them what to do, to tell them what's right and wrong. Those are all third and fourth dimensional constructs. And the beauty of existence is it's designed in such a way you don't have to worry about anything, because if they're operating in those power dualities, they can't get up here where there is none of that. So they're down here like, how do you control reality? How do you control God? And up here on these levels,
What do you mean?
you can't bring that up there.
On the wooden table is
It controls itself. It operates on its own dynamic. It's already set up. And there really is almost an invisible threshold
Isn't it probably one because this fucking
filtering
sticky?
up and down through it that, from a human perspective,
Like, read
good
it.
luck with
Please
that.
read it and
I mean,
tell
this
me
is
if I
never
get
going to
something
happen.
wrong.
And when I figured that out, I was like, oh, so we're running around desiring to be back up here, but looking around at other people down here. What you say to your clients is follow your own self, and that is operating up here. Why? Why does that work? Because in 5 minutes from now, it's a whole new moment. Never happened before, with its own dynamics, and the only point of view that could help guide you in that 5 minutes exists up here before it happens, right? Does that make sense? So when you got governments like 5 years from now and 10 years from now, and up on the higher planes, they're like, whatever, we already got that figured out. Just
it's already happened.
Right? So you get your moment to moment to moment to moment to moment joy, or your moment to moment to moment frustration of not being able to control the future. Which, when you live in the now, doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
I don't think you messed it up.
It's funny,
isn't
isn't
it? I think we just need to go tomorrow after school and get another thing that won't be sticky.
I tell you what, I read last week.
It'll be like the magnet.
I saw
shine.
last week's videos, and
Well,
it's funny. Every time I watch them, I glean more stuff out of them. It's quite good. It's excellent. I mean, in the moment while we're creating it, it's just like we're just free associated wherever the conversation takes us. But then you watch it again later when after you've posted it, and it's like, oh wow, I learned something new, and we were talking about that, and it didn't come to me then until now.
That's the fun of it all, because there's so much happening simultaneously that to really, really enjoy it. It's why we love listening to songs over and over and over again. So music is so powerful. It's so powerful because in this moment it serves, and the universe has it all figured out. In this moment, that song serves your heart this way. And then you're having a bad moment a year from now, and you remember that song, and then you go back to this moment when you were having that good feeling, and it re-triggers all that goodness. And then you hear something else in the song, and you're like, I love that part. And then suddenly you're out of your depression in under 3 minutes. And music is so good because it contains in 3, 4, 5 minutes or less an entire lifetime. You know, that whole story's right there. You can put it in your back pocket. You can carry it with you. You can memorize every note of it, every word of it. And it just serves you invisibly in your own imagination for as long as you'll let it.
Or if you put the track on repeat forever.
Forever. Well, every life has its own soundtrack. Promise. It really, really
What's
does.
yours? What's
All
your
of-
favorite track that basically sort of triggers a lot of stuff within you that sometimes you kind of think this doesn't belong in this lifetime? It belongs.
Doesn't belong in this lifetime?
As in the memories that it triggers.
I'm in like every song. I'm sorry. I would be lying if I didn't tell you. My life has been threaded. I haven't found a song that doesn't line up with all my lifetimes. Not yet. Not one. Not one. And every time I hear a new one, I just go, seriously? But on a mathematical equation level, I understand now how that works.
Yeah.
Completely. But I haven't found one that doesn't fit.
No, not yet.
Not yet. I doubt I ever will. But you, what about you? What about something that fits the most? Or at one time fit the most?
The one that fits the most for me is a song by an American dude, actually. He's quite young. He's very young. He's probably only 21 or 22. And it's dance music.
Good.
But it's called Past Lives.
I should listen to
You should look it up. You should look it up. It's called Past Lives, and it's by he's got a screen name. So he calls himself Borns or Bjorns or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's a young boy. He looks a little bit like your son, long hair.
Like Eli? Right on.
Yeah. So yeah, Google him.
All right, we'll put him on. We'll link him into our channel for this episode for Bjorns. Bjorns. Hi, Bjorns. Bjorns.
And if you listen to this song, every time I listen to this song, it triggers something new, depending on what mood I'm in. The first time I listened to the song, I thought, oh my god, I feel like that was, it triggered all these soul memories almost for me. But the soul memories came in the form of emotions that I was feeling. But nostalgia, actually, a lot of nostalgia came through.
No, you're just reconnecting with those aspects of yourself that have been dormant. You're eternal, so you can't say nostalgia. You're trying to remember, recollect your younger body. Your body is trying to regenerate, so that song is opening up those neural pathways. Okay?
Yeah. And the thing is, because not last year, but the year before, this whole journey ever since 2011, I'd say. Wow. 5 years. 5 years since it started for me. Anyway, so I've gone through a little bit. A friend of mine who was a quantum hypnotherapist.
I could use one of those.
Sorry?
I could use one of those. I like
She basically regressed me to different lifetimes, basically. But I was not I was not unconscious. I was totally awake the entire time. And I could see what was happening and what I was saying, even though I did not feel I had any control. I did not have any control. Images were just popping through, and I was just describing what was coming through. And that was the main trigger. That was 2011. And then from then, it was like, wow, really are eternal beings. We have lived so many lifetimes, and not all of them are Earth lifetimes.
You're living them now. They're all happening now. They're all connected.
That's right. And this song, is like, so that was like watching the movie. This song is the soundtrack of that.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I look, if you look it up, have a look and let me know what if it triggers anything for you. I'm a little bit of a, when it comes to music, I'm a little bit of a all over the place sort of person. I like a lot of things. I like a lot of genres, and this is kind of like a youngish, teeny bopper song. But
Good.
the message is there.
I guess it's dry.
Well, throw away all your little labels of young and teeny bopper song because it's all eternal. So like,
That's right.
Since our house is always
when I realized that I'm in every single song, and I was healing my knee, and I was way out there,
fucking work.
looking at it
We
all,
can take it tomorrow after school and find out.
Yeah,
putting
well,
it all
Brad,
together
fucking
without
do it
having a
now.
nervous breakdown, which is probably the most challenging thing my human brain has ever had to go through. It all made perfect sense. I was like, well, of course, this love story
What do you want?
is
Something
encapsulated in this, like,
MTV.
Something to eat.
I gotta be as respectful as it deserves, so everything is pure love.
What?
Everything.
Do we have anything to eat?
Everything. Period.
What do you want, honey?
So there's nothing to create from but that love. And there's nothing to create
You gonna
but
get me
that
something?
love.
I'm almost done here. I'd be
So
happy to.
you take a pot of love and you paint it on the wall, and it's just love in a different shape. So you take that sound and you move it around in a different tones, and it's still the love song of creation in a different
Yeah, what do you want?
setup, a different song, a different layout.
No,
So
no, no.
at first I thought I was insane. Well, I am insane, and I like that. What humans would call insane is the sanity of infinity. What looks insane to humans